Hey guys, it's your boy Chrysalis here. And the Oscar nominations were this morning. And they sure were something, weren't they? Yay! So yeah, if you're not in the know, the Oscars are a nickname for the Academy Awards for motion picture arts and sciences. Bet you didn't know that, did you? And they just announced the nominees for a lot of movies that are considered to be in the Best Picture category: actor, actress, director, screenplay, etc., etc., etc. More or less, the Oscars are kind of a long-running award show. This is like their 97th iteration. They've been around since the 20s. And even if technically what they decide to nominate an award doesn't necessarily matter in the grand scheme of things, simultaneously they kind of do, because it gives you an idea of what Hollywood is celebrating. Add to that, just having an Oscar, being nominated for one, can and oftentimes will be really good on your resume if you're a filmmaker. And like I said, they just announced the nominees for the 97th Academy Awards. And if you can't tell by the tone of my voice, I'm not the most pleased with it. Like, period. I'll go ahead and jump into Best Picture real quick, since I did mention in the video that I'm going to cover all the movies that are nominated for Best Picture, as well as ones that did not get nominated, but I feel like they should have, and boy howdy, there ended up being more than I expected. Our nominees are Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Amelia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. Out of all of these, I would say I'm Still Here is the one that I'm the most surprised by. It definitely beat the odds, considering that I think it had like a 3% chance of being nominated for this specific category based on the way other award shows have been trending. The rest of it I'm not really all that surprised by at all. It sucks because that means Sing Sing wasn't able to get a nomination, Challengers wasn't able to get a nomination, Furiosa Mad Max Saga not able to get a nomination, even though the writing was kind of on the wall considering how unsuccessful it was in the box office. And you're about to see kind of a recurring theme, considering that I personally think Challengers was one of the best films of the year. And Guadagnino also put out another movie in last year called Queer that was really good, that I had suspected that Daniel Craig would get a Best Actor nomination, but that got snubbed too for reasons unknown. Yeah, there's just a lot that should have been recognized but just wasn't. So anytime you want to know how film was back in 2024, you'll have to really do a little bit of digging beyond just the Academy Awards. But before I get too far ahead of myself, I'm going to try to just do a summary of the awards as opposed to going through each individual category. I'm going to be saving that for when I do a video on predictions for who's going to win. The main topic of conversation, of course, is the fact that Amelia Perez has been nominated for a whopping 13 Academy Awards. Yep, 13. This includes picture, director, adapted screenplay, actress, supporting actress, foreign film, musical score, 2 placements in original song, and a few others. And Amelia Perez post-release has not been received very well. The average film Twitter user calling it one of the worst, if not the worst, nominations for Best Picture and a potential winner for Best Picture since Crash in 2005. And my perspective on that movie, I'm going to elaborate on in a video later, just not right now. especially not while I'm still like processing what the sandhill I'm looking at. In terms of movies that ended up underperforming at the awards, I gotta talk about Dune Part 2, because what even happened? Like I said, they were able to get the Best Picture nomination, but that's kind of it. They landed 5 nominations, but nothing in director, nothing in screenplay, none in acting, none in score, but that's a whole other can of worms that was opened months ago about the originality of it and yada yada yada. It did land cinematography, which is great. It's fantastic because Greg Fraser was responsible for so many great shots. It also walked away with production design. It also walked away with sound and visual effects. That's it. Which is really unfortunate because that, for the longest time, if not more or less, still was my personal pick for movie of the year last year, as well as movie of the year for many people. But yeah, on the subject of underperforming, I'm amazed to see Nickel Boys here, like, at all. I'm surprised it clinched at least a couple of nominations. So I guess I wouldn't necessarily call that underperforming, more so just performing, since it's not being marketed very well for some reason. Anora doing just about the average of what I expected. It was nominated for picture, director, actress, and original screenplay, so it's doing just fine there. As well as best supporting actor. Y'all go easy on Mr. Yuri Borisov for playing Igor. He did what was, by textbook definition, a supporting role. The Brutalist also coming away with a lot of nominations, such as picture, screenplay, director, actor for Adrian Brody, supporting actress, I believe cinematography as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, for Lowell Crowley. Lowell Crowley did a great job with the cinematography in The Brutalist, if you haven't seen it yet. Which chances are you might not have, since it's A24 doing typical A24 things with their best movies. Conclave walking away with 10 Academy Award nominations. Awesome. That's fantastic, actually. Conclave deserves it. I believe Wicked also did that as well. This is more so in the category of films that are overperforming, but, not necessarily a bad thing. Unless you're Emilia Perez, but that's a whole other video, like I said. In the subject of films that also overperformed, A Complete Unknown also did that, somehow, someway securing Best Director for James Mangold for that movie, which I do want to talk about because it's very odd that we don't see either Luca Guadagnino or Denis Villeneuve for directing, like, at all. Like, Sean Baker for Anora, I'll give it up on. He did a great job with directing Anora. Brady Corbett may very well win Best Director for The Brutalist. One nomination I'm surprised by was Coralie Farget for The Substance. The Substance actually ended up getting nominated for a lot more than I thought, but unfortunately Margaret Qualley was snubbed for Best Supporting Actress for that movie. But nevertheless, we still have picture, original screenplay, I think, unless it's adapted. Oh, no, it's original, hell yeah. But yeah, picture, directing, original screenplay, actress, and there was one other I'm forgetting, but, maybe I'll mention it later. But simultaneously in director, for whatever reason, we've got James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. Now, I will say A Complete Unknown, solid movie. I'm not going to bash it or anything. I thought that A Complete Unknown was solid, and the strongest thing about it was Timothée Chalamet as Bob Dylan. He did fantastic in that movie. And then you got Emilia Perez for Jacques Audiard, whose name I'm probably going to butcher because French is an unusual language. So from my perspective, 3 out of 5 isn't exactly bad, but it's not great either, especially given the fact that were so many other directors that could have been nominated over those two, in my humble opinion. This is just a very, very, very weird award season, and it just feels so underwhelming considering how last year's was. It felt like that almost every movie that was nominated for Best Picture and so many of the nominations, it was just peak, basically. It was awesome. The 96 Academy Awards was probably one of my favorite viewing experiences of all time. Watching that just made it feel like to me that the Academy could just do no wrong, that they just know what they're doing, and that they know what it is that they're looking at, and they know taste, they know cinema. Then I look at this and I'm just like, there's good here. There's probably more good than I am giving it credit for, but simultaneously, it's also just a lot of. And there's just a lot of stuff here that's not there that I feel like it should be. Like Challengers, like Furiosa, like Queer. One nomination that I just felt that was so weird was that Angelina Jolie was snubbed for her role as Maria in the movie Maria, but for some reason in cinematography we see a nomination for Maria here for Ed Lackman. Mind you, they were great shots in the movie, but I mean, where's Angelina Jolie here? Like, what have we done with her? Like, what have we done with Daniel Craig? What have we done with Margaret Qualley? What have we done with Denzel fucking Washington for Best Supporting Actor? Mind you, the supporting roles have always been super stacked and super top heavy, that no matter what it is you do, someone's gonna get left out. But I just feel like Denzel Washington, considering how he was like the shining force, the best thing about Gladiator 2, I feel like he would have showed up here, but I don't know. But like I said, there is good news. Nosferatu received 4 nominations, by the way. The one I'm the most excited about is in cinematography. Jaron Blaschke received a nomination for that category. And I said in my review, I feel like that he should get that nomination because he absolutely deserves it. Blaschke, in so many ways, is one of the best things about Robert Eggers' movies. I don't know where Robert Eggers would be, at least in terms of shots, without someone as talented and someone with as keen of an eye as Jaron Blaschke. But yeah, I could keep going, but just looking at all of this, right? Just looking at all this, what is nominated for so much but should have been nominated for less, and what is nominated for so little and should be nominated for more, what's not nominated at all, especially challengers. I just don't know what else to really extrapolate from this, like, period. Like, for every great thing here, like the nominations for I'm Still Here, which was an underrated gem from what I understand, Anora getting its flowers, A Complete Unknown getting maybe 1 or 2 nominations that I wouldn't have expected to, nor do I really think it deserves. Conclave thriving, Dune Part 2 struggling, Amelia Perez dominating, Nickel Boys getting next to nothing, Wicked doing well, which honestly, like, I'm fine with Wicked doing as well as it did. I'm gonna be that Norman Rockwell painting guy for just a second, but the more I sit on it, the more I am processing Wicked after I had seen it the one time back in November. The more I'm like, you know what? That was a really solid movie. I did enjoy Wicked. And I really do look forward to rewatching it whenever I do my video on it. But also, shout out to the substance. It was able to do so well despite being a horror movie. Did you know that in the 97 years the Academy has been around, there's only been 7 horror movies nominated for Best Picture? And the thing is, a lot of those movies can just be rationalized out as just thrillers, like Jaws and Silence of the Lamb. But yeah, this is just wow. And I blame the lack of a strong de facto best movie this time around. Like last year, we had Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer was, in so many ways, just significantly better than a majority of the Best Picture nominees, if not all of them, even though I did really love Poor Things. And it was just cut and dry. So many nominations for Oppenheimer, 7 wins, but everything else that was nominated for Best Picture with Oppenheimer was also really good. But this year, it's like you got The Brutalist, which was great, Conclave, which is great. Every great film is just one that's okay or just solid. It just feels like a mixed bag from what I'm looking at. And yeah, like I mentioned a million times already, there's just also just so much that's not here. And it confuses me. Again, I will be doing reviews. I don't know how extensive I'm going to be about all of them, but rest assured I'm going to cover everything that was nominated for Best Picture. Just give me some time for I'm still here since I haven't seen it yet. And then, of course, I'm going to cover everything that should have been nominated for Best Picture, especially challengers. Especially challengers. That's about it. If you were able to catch the nominations this morning, or if you were able to peep the list for it, I'll actually leave a link in the description for the nominations for this time around. What do you think of it? Are you happy that your favorite movies are thriving? Are you unhappy that your favorite movies are not? Most likely you're the latter. And yeah, hope everyone's chilling and doing all right. Part of me is just excited in terms of film for the next month or two to get over with, because the Academy Awards this year is just going to be so dismal. They're not even performing original songs. Like, what are we doing? At the end of the day, that's kind of what I've been saying to myself after reading through all of it. I'm just like, what the hell are we doing here, brother? Like, what? This is your boy Chrysalis here, signing off.